Alright, if you're watching these things in order, this should be video number 2. This is my title page on my presentation here. The title I've gone with is The Freemasons. Is it any place for a Christian? And how the Freemasons' own authorities, rituals, and symbols prove that it isn't. This picture that you can see right here, this is a picture that I took from a local lodge in my local area. It was my intention to get into each and every one of these particular symbols and what each individual thing meant. But being that it is a secret organization, some of these were not entirely the easiest thing for me to find. But the best that I could figure out is, this is the square and compass, which is two of the three so-called great lights of Freemasonry. I believe this is just a symbol of the Blue Lodge, which is the first 3 degrees of the Masonic infrastructure. This is for the Scottish Rite, ancient and accepted Scottish Rite. The 32 here is the 32 degrees within the Scottish Rite. There is a 33rd, but it is, to my knowledge, it's a honorary type, special type degree that not everybody gets. My grandfather, when he passed away, he was a 32nd degree Mason of the Scottish Rite. This is a symbol of the York Rite. I did look these up at one time, and I had them written down, but I do not have those notes with me. This is, I believe, supposed to symbolize the York Rite. They have fewer degrees than the Scottish Rite does. And finally, this is the Order of the Eastern Star, which is for women. It's, from what I understand, it's a Masonic lodge for women, and that's about as far as I'm going to get into it. So, first thing I wanted to look at was the authority of Freemasonry. What do the Freemasons themselves consider to be authoritative? And there were a few different places that I looked and that I was able to find out. So what is the authority? There was a show back in the 70s. I think it was the 70s, 80s. I'm not really sure when it was, but John Ankerberg did a show called Behind Closed Doors. And he actually, before he did his show, he sent out a letter to the Grand Lodges of every state asking, okay, what literature do you consider to be authoritative? What texts do you use? And these are the list of what he got. Obviously, this is not a list of 100%. One lodge may have said Coyle, Claudy, and Surza. So this is basically what they got. 40% said Coyle's Masonic Encyclopedia, 33% Mackey, and so on. You got the builders: Cloudy, Haywood, Surza, Gould, Roberts, and Pike. And that is a survey, like I said, done from the John Ankerberg show. Bill Macon, who was a guest on that particular show, he is a 32nd degree Mason, and he is also he proclaims to be a Christian. I'm not debating whether he is or not. I'm just saying that's his statement, that he is a Christian. And he said the authoritative source for Masonry is the ritual. And he goes on to clarify what he means by the ritual. He says what happens in the lodge, what goes on within the lodge. Finally, another source, and I'm not going to get too deep in who Doc Marquis is, but he's done a lot of research into the Freemasons, and I do not believe that I've used anything of his other than the fact that he claims that the 3 greatest writers of Freemasonry were and are, these people are all passed away, but Albert Pike, Dr. Albert Mackey, and Manly P. Hall. Finally, according to academialodge.org, which is a website, it's a Masonic website, they claim that Albert Mackey's Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, this is their quote, remains the best overall Masonic reference available and is especially recommended. Okay, so one of the questions that was posed, and I'm just going to hit on this really quick. If you were to ask anybody, I think that is part of the Masonic Lodge, especially the Blue Lodge, which, like I said, is the first 3 degrees. I believe that if I were to ask my friends, do they believe that Freemasonry is religion? I believe that their response, I have not asked them this, but I believe that their response would be that it is a resounding no. I do not believe they would be part of an organization as a Christian that claims to be a religion. And Bill Macon, like I said, who is also a Christian, he says that Masonry is not a religion. This is the 32nd degree Mason who was on John Ankerberg's show. Macon provided a list of reasons why he believed that Freemasonry was not a religion. Now let's look at what he said. He said Masonry has no system of salvation. Masonry has no creed. They have no confession of faith and a doctrinal statement. There is no theology, no ritual worship. And finally, this is a direct quote, Masonry has no symbols that are religious in the sense of symbols found in a church or synagogue. Our symbols are related to the development of character of the relationship of man to man. They are working tools to be used in the building of life. Sounds pretty good. But this is what the Masonic authorities have to say about that. They say that every Masonic lodge is a temple of religion, and its teachings are instruction in religion. That's from Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma. No lodge can be regularly opened or closed without without religious services of some sort. That's from Webb's Monitor of Freemasonry. The master of the lodge is its priest and the director of its religious ceremonies. His duty is to select the scriptures, prayers, and he should be present at the burial of the dead. A meeting of the Masonic Lodge, or of a Masonic Lodge, is a religious ceremony. Again, Masonry, in many features, is a religious as well as moral institution. That's from Webb's Monitor, under the heading Chaplain. Another Webb's Monitor, the meeting of a Masonic Lodge is strictly a religious ceremony. We never suffer any religious disputes in our lodges, and as Masons, we only pursue the universal religion, the religion of nature. You know, some of these, as soon as I read, they should start throwing up flags. And it's not that I'm showing you something that is one single person's belief. These seem to be across the board. And I want to bring out something again, one quote. We hit on the fact that Webb is calling Masonry a religious institution and that they perform religious ceremonies. But did you pick up on the master of the lodge is its priest? And so this made me think. I was like, okay, so what is exactly the definition of priest? I mean, could that be construed as something other than I guess religious in nature? So I asked the question, what is a priest? And according to the dictionary, which is Merriam-Webster's dictionary, a priest is one authorized to perform the sacred rites of a religion, especially as a mediatory agent between humans and God. Okay, this is from Albert Mackey's Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. A chaplain is sometimes, through courtesy, invited to perform the former duty, but the master is really the priest of the lodge. And I'm going to interject something here, and I actually took a picture of this. I was driving by the Masonic Lodge in our town, and I had this on my mind as I was driving by. I was like, and I look up, and right above the Masonic Lodge, it doesn't say Masonic Lodge. It is called a temple, and I actually took a picture of it. And if I can, I'm going to put it in on the on one of the next videos if I can remember to do that. But he says here that a master The master is really the priest of the lodge. And finally, again, the presiding officer of a chapter of Royal Archmasons, according to the American system, is High Priest. His title is Most Excellent. There's a man who wrote a book, and his name is Edmund Ronayne. He is a former Mason. And when he was looking at basically the same things that I just presented here, about whether a Masonic lodge or whether the Masons is also a religion, this is his response. After looking at all these things, he says, "This, I think, places the question of the religious character of Freemasonry beyond the possibility of dispute. The worshipful master is the priest of the lodge, and his duties are the same as those of a Methodist, Baptist, Congregationalist, or any other minister of religion in the Christian church.